Hey, it's your boy Andy. Filming how to use this video with the Mueller Barista Premium. I think that's what it's called. But main thing you want to have are your portafilters, a scale if you have one. You got your tamp that came with it, and then I have these small glasses that are there just to receive it. Easier to tell when you're getting the shot out, but it's not required. Most important of all, the star of the show, you want to have, your coffee, whichever grind you want. I'm using a dark roast from Minuti. Don't need anything fancy, just any kind of scale. Some of them have a few more decimals there, but at least for this roast, I've gotten it down to about knowing that I need just 16 grams. Oh, a little too much. I'll adjust that. All right, 16. All right, before we pour anything in, you want to make sure you have your grind setting. Normally, the Mueller instructions tell you to start at about 5 to 10. Again, when you start dialing in your espresso, I've figured mine out to be about 5. Usually I like to turn it on first, just because it'll get the water going. Take it off here, and then just pour your beans in. Usually the hopper can hold pretty much everything you need, but I like kind of jumping between different roasts, so it's not always going to be full of the one bean the entire time. Okay, while the water heats up, I'll just explain some of the portafilters that come with it. This is the bottom portafilter. It has 2 spouts. Whenever you do your pull, the espresso is going to come out in 2 streams. As long as your cup's big enough to receive both, that should be fine. It looks like this when you get it. It has these 2 buckets. This one is for a single. This one's for a double, They go in there. It's not the one I normally use. The one I do use is called the bottomless portafilter. Looks like this, has the the net in it. You can pull off the bucket, you just kind of have to pry it. And then this is for the single shot. This is the double shot. Like I said, the main one I use is the double. So you'll see these 3 little nubs, I guess, poking out. Best thing to do, kind of have it seated in. It's hard to tell. Yeah, hard to tell, but there is a way you can kind of just jiggle it, let go. It should stay seated, depending on whatever you're going for. If it's a double or a single, just hit that button. This is the double, this is the single. Make sure it's not set to anything right now. But yeah, here's the double. All right, and you could hear how it just keeps grinding even though it was already done. So what you have to watch out for, if you don't have any sort of measuring in device to see how much grounds you're putting in, you just kind of have to look at it. Make sure it doesn't overfill on this little bucket. And then, once you kind of have it out, it's going to just take some time getting to figure it out. All right. So now once you've got everything onto your bucket, you're going to want to just give it a little tap, even it all out. You can pretty much use your finger here to just kind of spread it evenly. I have a tool for this, but it's not something everyone has right now, so we'll just kind of give it a comb. I'll just try to show without the tools, so it makes it easier. Just use your finger, even out, spread it out. For now, when you're first learning, you don't have the tools, it's okay. A good even spread, give it another little tap. All right, just to get kind of all the grounds from the edges to get off the sides and just to be in the middle, so that it's even and so whenever you're ready to tamp. All right, now for the tamping process, you don't really need any sort of special thing like this. Just put it on a flat surface. The bottom part of the portafilter should be flat enough so you can rest it on something. But yeah, I like having this tamping mat. And then this is the tamp that comes with the Mueller. Just place it directly over as straight as you can and give some force. I've read that it's just, enough when you feel it stop. You don't have to go too crazy. Just try to apply a downward, even press. And then when you pick it up, it should look pretty uniform, solid. You don't, the hard part is just making sure there's no air pockets, because when the water gets pushed through, if there's air pockets, you'll see why. If you want to, you can give it another tamp, just a little tamp again. And then you can give it a little spin when you're pulling off. Not really necessary. That's just for a little style points. But yeah, you should look for a bucket or a puck. This is what it's called. That looks like this. You might want to actually go a little higher with depending on the grounds and the size. So if you go for a higher, coarser grind, like higher than a 5, you're going to want less or fewer grounds. So you're going to go for maybe 15 grams instead of 16 like I did. If you go higher than a 5, the finer, the more grounds you want to put in. All right, once the machine's been on, after you're done grinding, these lights, they won't be on, but once they do come on, and eventually they will, it's because the water from the back tank has been warmed enough and it's ready to give you your espresso shot. So here's the point. Excuse the mess, I do use this thing a lot. But yeah. So once you have your puck pretty much tamped, ready to go, you want to start with it where this nub is facing you almost. And then once you push it up, you'll kind of see it seat in pretty well, like pretty much half of the portafilter's in there. Give it a nice twist. You'll feel it locking in. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. And when you turn, there should be some resistance, but not too much. If it's like really hard to pull it this way to get it in place, that means there's too much grounds. Normally I would say throw away the whole puck and redo it with fewer grounds, but you can also just kind of give it a little scoop, pull some out, and then retamp it, make sure it's lower. All right, and just like earlier, I probably should have showed that before I set up the shot, but yeah, grab a glass, grab a cup, whatever it is. When I first used this thing, I kind of started with just a mug, but yeah, I place it kind of right over that circle or as center under this portafilter as best you can. Then when you're ready, you're gonna press whichever one. If you only, grinded a single shot of espresso, you press that one. You're going for a double, that one. Now, I'm absolutely no expert. What you're looking for is a good crema on top, which is usually like a brown, lighter colored foam at the top. I'm going to hit the button. It'll be a little loud. And the reasoning for a bottomless portafilter, and maybe you won't hear me, is you can actually watch how the crema develops while the, while the shot is being made. And then when you see those like little bits of streams of water coming down, that's usually because if, maybe I didn't tamp so well. It happens. But yeah, you can watch as the crema develops. That's from the bottom to the top. And it should be done by now. Like I said, it's okay if, get us a little messy. You're experimenting, you're trying. I'm always changing up my grounds, so it's always kind of a messy thing. Once it's done, give it a grab. I usually have to hold on to the machine. It's not always heavy enough to pull against, so just opposite direction, turn, let it down. It's still dripping a little, but yeah. So this is kind of what you're going to see inside of the puck. If it's, too many grounds, you're going to see this indent kind of way more pronounced. That'll kind of tell you next time, maybe grind a little less. Excuse the mess, don't worry about my trash can. But yep, all you have to do is kind of flip it over, knock it on something, and it'll just fall right out. It's kind of what it'll look like. Puck comes out, it's still steaming a little. All right, and just give your portafilter a wipe with any sort of towel. I usually keep one on standby, just to, for just exactly this purpose. It's a dry towel. These grounds will very quickly dry up that are inside. You can just wipe it off. You don't have to wash the entire thing every single time you do an espresso pull. It usually comes out pretty clean already. I would say, maybe however many drinks, but once every 5 or 6 times. Take it apart, pull it off, and then give it the whole thing a wash. It really doesn't get that messy. This is actually like after my 4 drinks ago. All right, now for the milk. Once you're ready, the water's still hot. You're gonna want to steam your milk. Whichever you choose, there are certain types of milk you can add to this included pitcher. It's actually not something I do. I mainly just drink iced lattes. So I just pour myself some ice, get some milk in there, and then just pour the shot on top. Or if you want to do it the other way around, either way. But yeah, once you're ready, once you're ready, you just want to grab this knob, turn it to the right so that this little notch is facing this icon, and that's when this will start steaming. Then you can kind of maneuver it, adjust it so that you can actually steam your milk. That's not, again, something I've done a lot or at all really. But yeah, you'll be able to find plenty of those online. This video is mainly just to help with this specific machine.